So we have a pair of Fiestas. We have the Mk5 and the Mk6. Both with completely different engine swaps. This one has kept it Ford and this one has gone Japanese. Let's get into it. This Fiesta is installed with the Focus RS engine. What is interesting is there is not many that have had this conversion for what I know of. But again, this is the 2-litre 16-valve turbo out of the Focus RS. It makes around 375 horsepower front-wheel drive. Looking at this conversion, maybe people can put it in the comments, the mounts look near enough factory, which I can't understand why there isn't more done. If that is the case, I'm unsure. So as we move into the inside of the Mk5, these two Kubrick bucket seats with these suede action pieces, which obviously match the suede one-off steering wheel. Who doesn't love stack? They make some of the nicest gauges which give that motorsport theme and feel, and this has got many of them. So let's have a closer look at the Mk5. So what is interesting, as I said with factory mounts, is this is obviously the gearbox mount, which looks very factory because everything's got the Ford logo on. So it'd be interesting to see what that mount is. And then as you move over to this side, again, this looks like a factory mount. Again, especially the rubber, but I'm unsure about the metal which goes to the engine. And then obviously down this way, you've got the Garrett GTX 28. But really nice fit. And if anyone knows what mounts you use on these and drive shafts, because again, it all looks factory mounted. Nothing looks like a piece of box section or anything's been converted, but that makes 370 horsepower, 375 horsepower. It's going to be a real interesting drive.
This car is known as the Chav Wagon.
The what?
Chav Wagon.
The Chav Wagon.
Just because I drive it like a little kid, you know?
Oh, it's something about a front-wheel drive car with some good horsepower. Oh, it pulls. Oh. Stops as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it stops as well. My God.
Oh, it needs to be able to stop. This is the way I drive.
Oh, come on. Oh, lovely. There's not much torque still, I'll give you that much.
Well, it's funny you should say that. I had some cheaper tyres that I got cheap, but I found they were quite a hard compound.
Right.
So when I bought these 888s, I transformed it night and day.
Really?
The old tyres, it was really just, it was all over the road. 888s completely transformed it. Should we go back past him again?
If you want, yeah. Love it. Front wheel drive. Oh. See, I'm a front wheel drive man through and through, unfortunately, and this is exactly what I like. I think it takes me back to obviously when I was in my 20s and we all had little stupid little fat, well I did, little stupid fast front wheel drive cars. And do you know what, it's not that bad as a ride height. Oh, lovely, go on. Oh. She definitely goes. So where does this journey for you begin with the Mk5?
Back in the day I had a four-wheel drive Cosworth, used hard.
Sierra Escort?
Sapphire Cosworth, used extremely hard. And then I thought I'll get something else after a few years. It's come up as you see it now, looking pretty much externally, with the engine conversion already done.
Okay.
With Omex management.
Is there any modification you've done yourself on this car?
Just the seats, all the dash, all the gauges, change the wheels. I do tinker around with it, you know, bits and pieces, but I didn't build the engine. My mate Gary at GC Customs, he built the engine.
So when it first came, it wasn't forged; it was just a stock.
It was a standard engine when I got it.
Okay.
Like I say, it worked, but it was it could have done with a lot more. Dynoed at 375, and I would have liked 400, but after I got to 375, and I used it on the road, I thought I just don't need any more.
So basically, it's just use, abuse, go on the track,
Yeah.
and keep it maintained, and that's
why it looks nice from a distance, but when you get up real close, there are some things and dents. But I like it like that because then I ain't got to worry about it. And that's why I've left the interior in, even though it's got a cage in it. I left the interior in because it kind of keeps it like a car. It takes away that you don't get all them noises, and it cushions the sound a bit.
yeah, I see.
And when you're driving hard, you know you want a bit of comfort, don't you?
No, you certainly do. So let's have a closer detailed look at under the engine bay of the Mk6 K20. So as you can see, a very, very tight conversion. Trimmed away for the power steering pump, and you can see here, this is one of the conversion mounts, and then the CRV one goes on the block to adjust the height. Coil on plugs, still in like the factory sheathing, and then obviously this wonderful old school Turbonetics turbo. You've heard the words kswap the world, I can see why. So moving on to the interior, the thing that really stands out when you first get in here is this gear shifter from Acuity. I can't praise it enough for how nice it feels, the adjustment levers. It's a really classic piece of engineering. Plus, it's on this kind of raised tower to get the gear stick nice and high. So obviously when this car's on its track day, it feels good, it's in a good location. This thing, with the engine combination, the aftermarket ECU, and all the bells and whistles that's been mapped into it, this is a game changer for me. It's slightly tilted between the two, just on that little pull.
Well, second gear's low boost, so it's got boost per gear. Only third gear and above you get full boost.
I see, I see.
Like that.
I see, yeah. Well, yeah. They are night and day different power deliveries in this seat. Very, very smooth delivery out.
You know, like we're at what 3,000 in fifth.
Yeah.
So that's second pulling away.
That feels like first.
Will hit the limiter, but it's still quite sedate because, you know, bouncing off the limiter is no good for an engine. So if we had the logging on, I could show you the wheel speed variation and the spark retard that's keeping it on the road.
Will show this, but you cannot tell when the turbo kicks in, and you cannot tell when the VTEC kicks in.
No.
It's just linear all the way around.
Yeah, exactly. You won't find many other Hondas that drive like this either. Okay. They normally put turbos on that are too big.
Yes.
They still want it to rev to 8 grand, 9 grand. VTEC doesn't kick in until like 6,000 or something. On this it's 5,000.
Right, okay.
But you don't notice it. We've mapped it perfectly. So
you can hear it or something like that.
You can't hear it, no. To be honest, when we first mapped it, we weren't sure if it was even working because you couldn't tell the difference.
Right, okay.
But then we did map with and without VTEC on, and you can see the overlap.
Yeah.
And because it's drive by wire, I can control the throttle mapping anyway to give me the behaviour I want.
Yes.
That's fifth gear.
Where does it come for this Mk6 Fiesta, and why have you done a Mk6 Fiesta?
I used to work for Ford. I was in R&D, used to work with the engine dynos on the IT side. And around the time that I joined Ford, This special edition came out, the celebration edition, to signify the end of the Mk6 Fiesta, and green's my favourite colour.
Okay.
And you know, as a somewhat middle-aged man, I thought, can I get away with it? I thought, a track car probably, you know, bright green.
So this is one of the special edition ones?
It is. They made 400.
Okay.
I think there's around 200 left on the road.
You're contradicting yourself on the fact that you're a Ford man, I love Fords, but then we've got something Japanese under here.
Yeah, so I track prepped the car in 2017. That's when I bought the car. It had the original 1600 engine, which arguably was made by Yamaha.
Oh, right, okay.
So, you know, slightly Japanese. Made it track ready, so it had all the suspension, brakes, cage, interior, all that was done. And I used it for a few years as a track car. And then on the side there's a sticker when I last went to the Nürburgring, which was 2019. And I don't know if you know, but there's a 2 kilometre climb up the back.
Yes, there is the back end, yeah.
And this didn't make it up there in fifth with 100 horsepower. So it needed a bit more power. And I thought, oh, 200, 250 will be fine for the ring. And then I was tossing up between turbocharged in the original Sigma engine, the 1600. But a friend of mine, ARC, does a turnkey set of engine mounts for the Honda K series.
In these?
In the Fiesta.
Oh, right, okay.
So he does the full package of mounts, drive shafts, some other bits and bobs. I didn't go for the full turnkey package. I'd like to do a lot myself. So,
yeah.
But I took the mounts off of him. And to be honest, the reason why is because the Sigma engine, nobody sells aftermarket parts for it.
Okay.
You know, Caterham use it and whatever, but it doesn't have the aftermarket following that the Honda engines have.
Tell me what we're seeing and what specifications we've got.
So it's a relatively standard K24 out of a Honda Accord Type S, K24 A3, 2.4 litre. Sump and oil pump have been changed to an FD2, extra capacity. Gave me some room to put some baffles in the sump for track use to keep the oil pressure up. It's got an inlet manifold from an FN2, which is, I think, the highest flow manifold they do from the factory. And that's pretty much it for the engine. It's got an oil cooler, it's got a T7 designs, takeoff plate, measuring pressure there and temperature. Turbo wise, it's an old school Turbonetics turbo. I just like the brand. Been around for donkey's
cool, weren't they? Polished with the...
Well, you know, they're just robust, right? And for a track car, they can put up with a little bit more abuse. You know, journal bearing turbo. The Turbonetics have a thicker shaft than Garrett.
Did he really?
Slightly, you know, they're slightly different, slightly stronger than a Garrett. But, you know, it's a 30-year-old turbo.
Yeah, they are old.
But it hasn't got a massive exhaust housing on it. It comes on boost at like 3,000 RPM.
Okay.
You know, and goes all the way to the red line.
Wow, okay. And performance-wise, what were we thinking?
So it was never, I mean, this is a track car. It was always designed to have traction on the circuit, right? So the reason I went for the 2.4 is to give you the wide spread of torque. I've kept the power down as low as I can get, really. So it's about 350 horsepower.
More than enough for a track car to have some fun.
Yeah, and it's got a nice spread of torque.
Awesome. As someone who's obviously going to watch this and think about, because I didn't realise there was an off-the-shelf kit for these, is it a relatively simple thing to convert these Fiestas with the K series?
Yeah, really simple. So the engine drops straight in. You need to cut a slight bit off of the inner chassis rail.
Any welding?
Nope.
All right, just
and
cut in and remove
straight
something.
in the shafts. You can buy the shafts off the shelf. And the ECU's plug and play with the racing circuits loom.
Wow, I can see a lot more of these coming out then.
There's about 30 or 40 on the road.
Wow.
Not turbocharged. I think there's a couple turbocharged. But I've actually been mapping cars for about 20 years as a enthusiast, a serious enthusiast. And a good friend of mine in Iceland that I've known a long time, a chap called Balder. He has his own ECU brand.
Okay.
Called Balder's Control Systems. And I've got his flagship petrol ECU in this, the LPC8. Which does drive-by-wire, it does knock control, it does everything that you could ever want.
Okay.
So I'm running that in there. It's fully integrated with all the original vehicle electronics, the instrument cluster, the ABS module. It uses everything.
Really? So final decision and final pick, it would be the Mk6. The power delivery was linear. I couldn't tell when the VTEC was kicking in. I couldn't tell when the turbo was kicking in. It's got all the bells and whistles, and it certainly made it an interesting drive. And what was fantastic was to get out in the pair in such a short period and to feel both the power deliveries at engines which near enough make the same horsepower. So a massive thank you to the mapping doctor for inviting me down, for taking me out in this, and he also maintains the Mk5. It's been a fantastic day. I hope you enjoyed that. Put in the comments which one you'd pick and why. Take care, guys, and I'll see you all on the next video.